The sky hadn't been blue in years. Above what used to be Berlin, black clouds churned with silent flashes, electrical storms born from scorched atmosphere and nuclear dust. The Zarn Dominion called it cleansing weather. For Lena Voss, it was just Tuesday. She crouched in the rubble of a collapsed transit tunnel, one hand on a battered pulse rifle, the other adjusting the cracked respirator strapped over her face. Every breath was a struggle, a mix of iron dust and ozone. Every flicker in the darkness might be a drone, a scout, or worse, a Zarn Reaper. Lena wasn't a soldier. She was 17. Maybe. She'd stopped counting birthdays after the sky caught fire. But she could climb faster than a crawler, shoot straighter than most adults, and, most importantly, she could vanish. That's why she was alone now. Her last scavenge crew had been atomized outside the Tiergarten ruins. A net minefield, Zarn tech that spun webs of plasma between ruins, triggered by a flicker of human breath. They didn't even scream, just vanished in bursts of white light. She had made it out, barely. Her next checkpoint, an old resistance, safe house, had been reduced to a crater. No signs of survivors, only ashes. She should have run. She didn't. Instead, she pushed deeper into the ruins. That's when she found it. A flicker of artificial blue light pulsed from a partially buried hatch beneath the old subway station. It shouldn't have had power. Nothing did anymore. And it was Earth tech, not Dominion. Lena crouched, pried open the hatch with a rusted crowbar, and slipped through the narrow crevice. The smell hit her immediately. Dust, ozone, and old machine oil. She dropped into a dark chamber. The air buzzed with static. At the center of the room floated a cracked, glowing orb of metal and crystal, faintly humming. It spun slowly, like it was watching. Etched across its base in chipped stencil paint, Proect Shield, Core 9, Argus, Proect Shield, she gasped. She'd heard whispers, myths, really. A forbidden AI humanity had built in secret during the last years of the invasion, meant to be too powerful, too smart, so they buried it, hid it beneath the bones of old cities. Now, it stared at her. No. It recognized her. The orb pulsed. A line of light flickered down her spine. Then, contact. A voice entered her skull, smooth and metallic. Human pattern detected. Designation? Voss? Lena? Biological compatibility, 87.6%. Bonding protocol initializing. No, wait! She choked. But it was too late. Memories not her own flooded her mind. Fleets burning in orbit, wars on Titan, victory through suffering. Her eyes rolled back. Her body convulsed. And then, clarity. She stood straighter, her thoughts sharpened. Argus spoke again. Lena Voss, I am Earth's final contingency. You are now my pilot. You're an AI, she whispered. I thought they destroyed you all. I am more than that. I am strategy, survival, vengeance in potential. She didn't fully understand. But she didn't need to. Footsteps echoed. Through the ruins above. The Dominion had found her. Argus's voice was ice in her ear. Enemy scout party inbound. Tactical analysis. 12 combatants. Light armor. Plasma rifles. Weak points marked. Red outlines flared in her augmented vision, highlighting walls, angles, ambush points. Shall we begin? Lena's fingers tightened around the rifle. Her pulse slowed. They dropped through the roof, rifles raised. She moved like lightning. The first Zarn soldier fell to a single headshot. The second barely blinked before she was behind him, driving a shard of metal through his neck. She weaved between blaster bolts, firing with mechanical precision, every shot guided by Argus. When it was over, blood and plasma soaked the floor. Lena stood among 12 corpses, chest heaving, heart silent. Engagement complete. Congratulations, pilot. You are now officially at war. Outside, Zarn dropships streaked the sky. But for the first time in years, Earth was fighting back. The Dominion never underestimated an enemy. That's why they hunted Lena like she was a contagion. Dust hissed in her lungs as she ducked beneath twisted beams in the sub-level tunnels, Argus guiding her every step. They'd left 5 bodies in the vault. Lena's hands still trembled, but her aim hadn't faltered, not once. She could feel it now. Something inside her had changed. Not just adrenaline, not just anger, evolution. You shouldn't be talking to me, Lena muttered as she paused beside an ancient conduit to reload. You're forbidden tech, blacklisted, dangerous. Correct, Argus replied, voice calm and measured inside her skull. I am a Class Sentinel AI. I was deactivated by Earth's governments before the invasion. They feared I would choose survival over obedience. Lena scoffed, slamming the mag into place. They were right. Also correct. Earth fell. They obeyed. I did not. Lena moved through the shadows, heart pounding, half expecting another ambush, but Argus had swept the sector clean. Nothing moved. Yet, she emerged into what had once been the underground archives of the Berlin Technocratic Institute. Now it was a mausoleum of collapsed data cores and fossilized learning. Broken statues of scientists lined the halls, their eyes hollowed out by shrapnel. You were buried here? She asked. Deep within the military research subnet. This was a secondary. Cradle, a failsafe location. You stumbled upon it. Coincidence? No, I follow instinct. So do I. She paused beside a busted access terminal and ran her fingers over the Dominion burns scorched into its surface. Why me, Argus? You must have been programmed to bond with soldiers, not kids. I was programmed to bond with those most likely to resist. Pattern analysis chose you. Determination, tactical reasoning, emotional resilience. She laughed bitterly. You think I'm resilient? Your body count disagrees with your self-doubt. A flicker on her internal HUD caught her eye. Red. Fast-moving. A Dominion hunter drone, a biomechanical tracker, was closing in, alone. Not a squad. Testing her. I see it, Lena whispered. It sees you. Suppression cannon active. Flank. Right. Execute in 3.2 seconds. She moved like a blur, Argus flooding her neural pathways with motion predictions. Her boots barely touched the broken tiles before she was airborne, flipping off a collapsed pillar. The drone's plasma bolt whistled past her left cheek. She didn't flinch. 2 shots. One to blind it, one to the throat, where the flesh met. Metal, it fell with a crunch. Lena landed hard, gasping. Target neutralized. Impressive. Reaction time increased by 34%. I felt that, she said through clenched teeth. Like I knew what it was going to do. Prediction and fusion. Your neural net is syncing. That will accelerate. You are becoming more. She looked down at her hands. They were shaking. But not from fear. From power. Raw, unfamiliar power. A terrifying clarity filled her. What happens if I keep changing? She asked. What if I stop being me? Then humanity wins. That hit her harder than the drone. Argus didn't want to preserve her. It wanted to use her, just like everyone else had. Her father, the old militias. Even the resistance. Lena staggered back a step, her breath fogged in the cold. No, I'm not your weapon. Incorrect. You are the weapon. I am merely the aim. Before she could respond, a new ping blinked across her HUD. Not a drone. A squad. Closing. In fast. 12 targets. 1 commander, plasma armor, no exit route. Lena swallowed hard. Options? Engage, surprise, survive. She looked down the dark corridor ahead. Her reflection stared back in a broken mirror. Tired, scarred, and wrapped in stolen Dominion tech. A girl with nothing left except fire. Then let's show them, she said. What a forbidden AI and a pissed-off human girl can really do. The corridor lit up with cold blue light as Dominion troops stormed the underground archive. 12 soldiers. 1 commander. Their armor hummed with energy, each pulse synchronized, precise, merciless. Zarn didn't send patrols like this unless they thought the threat was serious, and Lena Voss had just become a threat. She crouched behind a fractured marble support, blood pounding in her ears. Her rifle was low on charge. 1 more burst and it'd overheat. She had 2 grenades, 1 knife, and the ghost of a god in her head. "They underestimate you," Argus whispered, its voice now calmer, colder. "This is their first mistake." "I've only got 1 clip left," she muttered. "I need more than mistakes." Then we give them fear. The Dominion soldiers moved with coordinated grace, like a machine with 13 limbs. But Lena wasn't thinking like a soldier anymore. She was evolving. Argus had opened her senses, her hearing, her sight, her instincts. Everything burned sharper now. She moved, like wind. A flashbang arced into their formation, detonation cutting through the dark. The Zarn staggered, just for a second. That's all she needed. She leapt over the barricade, plasma blade igniting, mid-air. The first soldier didn't even scream, just collapsed, armor hissing open like a tin can under pressure. Her blade moved through him and into the next. She dropped to a knee, slid under incoming fire, and shot upward with a brutal uppercut that shattered another trooper's helmet. 3 down, 9 remain. "Working on it," she grunted. The squad commander barked orders in shrieking Zarn tongue. The formation split. They began using sonic pulses, waves of sound that could rupture human organs. Argus reacted instantly, flaring her inner systems, initiating sound-dampening override. Warning, biological strain rising. Lena winced, but stayed upright. Her joints ached, her skin flushed. But she pushed forward. Her movements turned into choreography, brutal, elegant, desperate. She dodged left, slashed, ducked under a swing, fired point-blank into an alien's gut. The fight blurred, not from chaos, but from precision. She was the chaos now. When the last trooper collapsed in a pool of alien blood, Lena stood gasping, bent over. Her vision swam, and her arm trembled from overuse of the blade. Burn lines sizzled across her jacket. Then the commander stepped forward. He wasn't like the others. Taller, broader. His armor shimmered with a gold hue, Dominion elite, a rank that commanded fleets. His voice rumbled in her bones. "You," he growled in surprisingly clean English. "The girl of the AI, the whisper of rebellion. We thought you a story, a myth." Lena wiped blood from her mouth. "Sorry to disappoint." He drew a massive glaive, double-bladed and crackling with plasma. "You will not survive this." "Correction," Argus said coolly in her mind. "You will." The commander moved. First, a blur of speed and power. The weapon came down like a guillotine. Lena parried, barely. The impact sent her sliding backward across the rubble-strewn floor. Her ribs screamed, but she was still standing. She ducked under his next swing, letting the blade slice the air inches above her scalp. Her HUD flashed a weak point near the base of his armor's back panel. Exploit pattern. "Now!" She rolled under him, jammed a grenade into the weak point, and launched herself backward just as he turned to strike. The explosion threw her into a wall. When the dust cleared, the elite commander lay twitching, half his body gone. She limped to him, stared into his flickering eyes. "This is for everyone you burned," she whispered, and drove her blade into his chest. Silence. Then Argus spoke. "You've killed a god." "Lena, that will not go unnoticed." She stood tall despite the pain, eyes blazing with fury. "Good," she said. "Let them notice." The body of the Zarn commander lay smoking in the dark. Lena stared at him for a long moment, her hands still trembling from adrenaline and pain. The Dominion had sent one of their elites, not to negotiate, not to capture, but to erase her, and she had won. Not because she was stronger, because she was something they hadn't prepared for. Human. She knelt beside the shattered comlink embedded in the commander's chest plate. Dominion tech pulsed dimly with alien symbols, but Argus quickly overlaid them in her mind, translating line by line. Short-range transmission capability still intact, Argus noted. Encryption level, standard field grade. We can use it. Use it how? She asked, cradling her bruised side. They already know I'm alive. We make sure the galaxy knows it. Lena's eyes widened. You want to send a broadcast? Affirmative. Psychological warfare. Dominion morale relies on control. You've broken that illusion. Now we show them the fracture. She stared at the flickering device. Her reflection in its scorched metal looked like someone else. Someone forged from pain, loss, and flame. Then she nodded. Let's burn their silence. Argus interfaced with the device, guiding her through the wiring as she reconnected severed lines and jury-rigged power from her own rifle cell. Sparks danced across her fingers. The air sizzled with static. With a low hum, the communicator activated. Blue holographic lens hovered above the plate. Ready. Broadcast range. Shortwave planetary with scatter to orbital interceptors. Message will be intercepted by Zarn battle networks and resistance cells. Lena swallowed. For the first time since the sky fell, the world would hear her voice. She took a breath and spoke. This is Lena Voss, daughter of Earth. Her voice trembled, but she pressed on. I don't know who's left. I don't know who's listening. But if you're out there, human, alien, anyone who remembers freedom, know this. The Dominion came to conquer, but we are not conquered. She stepped forward, blood on her face, her stance defiant. They burned our cities. They broke our armies. They hunted our families like animals. But I am still here. We are still here. And I just killed one of their gods. The lens flickered with static. They called Earth finished. They were wrong. We have one thing they'll never understand. Hope, rage, memory. We remember who we were, and I swear, on every ruined city and every buried name, we will become something worse than what they fear. A pause, then the final blow. You wanted to silence us. You failed. She ended the feed. Silence followed, like the world itself was catching its breath. Transmission successful, Argus confirmed. Dominion orbital forces received the signal. Enemy networks are flooding with internal alerts. Good, Lena said, breath shaky. Let them panic. Suddenly her HUD flared red. Incoming. Multiple signatures. Fast. 5 Dominion Reavers. Not scouts. Execution units. You have 20 seconds. Of course I do, she hissed, grabbing her rifle and backing into the shadows. No break for the girl who won't die. Recommendation. Fall back to Node 7, the forgotten resistance bunker beneath the riverbed. You'll find reinforcements. Lena gritted her teeth. I thought there were no reinforcements. There weren't, until your broadcast. As she sprinted into the tunnels, lights flickering around her, she realized what she'd just done. She wasn't hiding anymore. The Dominion would bring down the sky to find her now. But she had given people something they hadn't felt in years. A reason to fight. Maybe even a reason to win. And somewhere, deep under the shattered earth, others were waking up, hearing her voice, picking up old weapons, dusting off old flags. The last stand had begun. The riverbed above her had long since dried, choked by ash and fallen Dominion debris. Beneath it, forgotten by maps and memory, was Node 7, a cold, dead bunker that had once pulsed with resistance breath. Now it hummed again. Lena stepped inside, rifle raised, Argus scanning every corner. The air was stale, but not empty. Movement flickered beyond the dust-glazed glass of old observation rooms. Shadows stirred. She kept her back to the wall. Argus, tell me someone friendly's alive. In here. Life signatures 12. Human. Adrenaline levels spiking. They are afraid, but armed. Perfect. A hiss of hydraulics echoed through the dark. Doors creaked open, and out stepped a man with a beard of gray and eyes that had seen too much. His rifle was older than Lena, but it was steady in his grip. You her? He asked flatly. The girl who killed the Zarn god? Lena lowered her weapon. Depends. You here to shoot or salute? The man cracked something like a smile. I'm Captain Garant. Resistance. What's left of it? We got your message. Behind him, others stepped forward. A woman with cybernetic arms, a teen boy in scavenged armor, even an old doctor clutching a medkit like a holy relic. Not soldiers. Survivors. Lena exhaled slowly. I thought I was alone. You were, Garant replied. Until now. They're responding, Argus whispered. Your signal reignited a buried command link. Dozens more resistance beacons just pinged active. Lena felt her knees wobble. You mean there's more? There will be. The forest embers just found wind. Captain Garant led her through the bunker. Maps coated the walls. Zarn patrol routes, Dominion orbital scans, broken comm logs from other cells. Some of the data was years out of date, but Lena could see the logic in it. A memory of Earth's fighting spirit. We've been surviving, he said. But surviving isn't winning. You reminded us there's a difference. They'll come harder now, Lena warned. They saw the broadcast. I've killed too many. They'll turn cities to glass if it stops me. Garant nodded grimly. Then we make them bleed first. Captain Garant is correct, Argus said. You are no longer a fugitive. You are a symbol. The Dominion has controlled the narrative for too long. Now we control it. Lena leaned over the maps. I want to hit them. Not run, not hide. Hit them where it hurts. Funny, said the cyber-armed woman behind her. We've been keeping a little surprise just for that. They led her to a sealed vault. The door hissed open to reveal a beast of a machine, half tank, half walker, scarred from an ancient battle but still alive. On its hull, faded words in chipped white paint. Titan 12, an old Earth combat mech, one of the last ever deployed before. Orbital bombardments took them out. Its legs were scorched and its railguns silent. But it stood. Does it work? Lena asked, eyes wide. Needs a pilot. Needs Argus, Garant said. We've got the parts. Just didn't have someone mad enough to try. She stepped forward slowly, running her fingers along the cold metal. Compatible, Argus confirmed. Interface capable. Fusion with my systems. 97% efficiency. You would become Earth's first synthetic node pilot since the fall. Lena smiled. For the first time since her family died, it wasn't bitter. Then let's wake the Titan. That night, as Dominion's scout ships swept Earth's broken cities searching for her, Titan 12 roared to life in the blackness beneath the riverbed. And across other resistance bunkers, buried, abandoned, almost forgotten, others heard the sound, for the first time in years, hope echoed louder than fear. The girl wasn't alone anymore, and Earth was rising. Titan 12 stood like a metal god awakened from slumber. Inside the cockpit, Lena's breath misted in the cold, recycled air. Her hands gripped the neural link controls as Argus finished its integration with the mech's ancient systems. Her nerves were lit with power. Every movement she made, the Titan mirrored, slow, deliberate, heavy as thunder. Synchronization complete, Argus said. Neural interface stable. All weapon systems online. We are Earth's wrath. The mech's systems flared to life. Plasma cores humming, railguns charging, seismic boots locking onto terrain data. the cockpit displays flooded with targeting, overlays, and predictive models. Titan 12 wasn't just a machine. With Argus inside, it became something more, a war god. Outside the bunker, Captain Garrett and the remaining resistance forces watched in awe. The teen boy from earlier muttered, "She's inside that? She's really gonna fight them with that?" "No," Garrett said, eyes narrowed. "She's going to break them." Argus pinged the Dominion's latest movements. 5 Skydrop ships had deployed troops to Quadrant Delta near the ruins of Old Chicago. They were hunting, sweeping what remained of the human zones for signs of resistance. "Argus," Lena said, gripping the controls, "give me eyes on their deployment." "We're going hunting." "Affirmative." "Initiating Titan launch protocol." With a deafening grind of metal, the riverbed above shattered as Titan 12 emerged, rising through broken earth like a steel colossus. Dust and ash swirled around it. The sky, choked with Dominion patrols, lit with alarm beacons. Lena raised the mech's right arm. The plasma cannon thrummed with a high-pitched charge. "Targeting active. Enemy transport in range. Fire!" Lena grinned. "Burn it!" A bolt of sunfire tore from the cannon, cutting through clouds and vaporizing the closest Dominion ship. It exploded in mid-air, raining molten debris across the ruins. Screaming alarms echoed from the others as they scrambled to reroute. Lena stalked forward in Titan 12, every footstep cratering the cracked highway beneath her. Argus highlighted enemy infantry below. Scores of Zarn foot soldiers scrambling for cover behind Dominion drop structures. They opened fire. Lena didn't flinch. The Titan's left railgun roared, cutting swaths through alien lines. Missiles fired. From hidden turrets struck the mech's armor, but Earth's last war machine didn't falter. She kept moving, kept firing, kept punishing. Multiple Zarn units neutralized. "Enemy reinforcement ETA, 3 minutes. "Not fast enough," Lena snarled. "We finish this before they breathe again." The Resistance, emboldened by the Titan's fury, launched a synchronized ground assault from hidden trenches. Garant's people hit the Dominion from the sides, using scavenged rifles, EMP grenades, and sheer desperation. It wasn't a war. It was vengeance. From the cockpit, Lena watched it unfold with burning eyes. "Argus, give me a firing solution. I want that enemy command post gone." "Calculating. Fusion overdrive required. Warning, cockpit temperatures may exceed tolerable human thresholds. Do it." The core flared, overclocking. Titan 12's main cannon lit with a spiraling charge of plasma and lightning aimed at the massive Dominion command tower rising from the ruins like a cancer. Lena whispered, "For Earth," and fired. The beam cut across the battlefield like the finger of a god, and the command tower disintegrated in a shockwave that leveled every Zarn within 100 meters. The ground shook. The sky went quiet. When the dust cleared, Titan 12 stood smoking and battered, but alive, and the Dominion forces scattered, broken, retreating. "Victory," Argus said calmly. "Casualties, minimal. Resistance morale, extreme elevation. You are the storm now." Jarrent's voice crackled through comms. "We just got word." 5 more cells responded. They saw the explosion. They're moving. Lena, drenched in sweat, slumped back in the pilot seat. "We're not done," she muttered. "No," Argus replied. "We've just begun." And from orbit, high above Earth's wounded surface, the Dominion warships watched in silence. They had come to conquer a primitive world. But now, they feared something far worse. A human girl and her raid. From orbit, Earth looked like a scarred battlefield. The Dominion flagship Oblivion's Reign loomed silently in low-atmosphere orbit, its hull blotting out the sun above the Americas. Within its command dome, High Overlord Verax clenched his claws behind his back and stared into the swirling chaos below. He had underestimated the humans. No, he had underestimated her. "Status of Ground Sector Delta?" he asked, his voice like gravel scraping steel. A trembling technician analyst bowed. "Crushed, Exalted One." The human Titan unit vaporized Command Post 7 and annihilated 4 Hunter platoons. Resistance elements have tripled since the transmission. Vayrax's tendrils twitched. So the girl speaks, and they awaken. She fights like no human we've seen, Lord. And that machine, it bleeds our might, Vayrax hissed. Then summon the Ash Legion. Gasps echoed in the chamber. Even the most battle-hardened Zarn stiffened. The Ash Legion had not been deployed in centuries. Cloned for purity and bred for genocide, they were kept in cryovaults for only the most stubborn species. And deploy the orbital cleansers, Vayrax added. I want fire across every zone she's touched. Earth. Bunker node. 14. Midwest wastes. The resistance was growing faster than anyone predicted. Gerent stood before a map littered with green flickers, cell signals, weapons caches, even 3 grounded Titan-class chassis being prepped for reboot. Lena's broadcast had become a spark, and her assault on Sector Delta had become the proof that humanity could win. Lena paced behind him, her arms crossed, eyes tired but electric. They're coming harder now, she said. Confirmed, Argus chimed in. Dominion fleet has deployed cleansing protocols, atmospheric burn missiles, biological nerve agents, and precision orbital bombardments. They intend to erase resistance zones before they spread. They're afraid of us, Garant muttered. No, Lena corrected. They're afraid of me. Good. Suddenly the bunker trembled, alarms howled. Argus's voice shifted to alert mode. Orbital strike en route. 3 hypersonic kinetic rods targeting this region. Impact in 60 seconds. Everyone, into the lower vaults, Garant roared. Lena turned to the reinforced Titan Bay. Argus, can we outrun this in Titan 12? No, but we can intercept it. She froze. Are you saying we can catch an orbital rod? Not catch, deflect, but only with a direct plasma core. Collision. Lena's stomach dropped. That's suicide. Only if I miss. 30 seconds left. She vaulted into Titan 12, the hatch slamming shut behind her. Argus roared to life, the mech powering up mid-emergency. Around her, resistance fighters scrambled into hardened bunkers, many shouting her name like a battle. Cry, the sky tore open. 3 rods fell like spears from the heavens. Columns of fire, fury, and doom. Titan 12 launched from the ground, using every ounce of its plasma core to hit intercept velocity. Time slowed. Argus aligned the cannon. Now! Lena screamed. A blinding beam slammed into the first rod mid-descent, shattering it into a flaming cloud above the city. The second one clipped Titan 12's left arm as it twisted, sending them crashing into a ruined tower. Arm actuator offline, recalibrating. But the third rod was still falling. Fast. Titan 12 rose from the rubble, sparking and scorched. Lena's blood trickled down her temple. We don't stop that one. It's over. Agreed. The mech jumped, high, screaming into the air on burning thrusters. As the final rod pierced the clouds, Lena unleashed a charged overload, detonating it in the upper stratosphere in a blinding flash visible for hundreds of miles. Silence. Then, thunderous cheers. Gerent's voice came through the comms, shaky. You just stopped an orbital strike? With your face. Lena laughed weakly. Told you I wasn't dying today. Incoming transmission, Argus noted. High-priority Dominion signal. Origin. Oblivion's reign. Put it through, Lena growled. A hologram flickered on. Vayrax appeared, massive, regal, furious. You are no warrior, he snarled. You are a child wearing the bones of giants. Do you think this ends in your favor? Lena stared coldly. I think it ends with your empire in flames. You have doomed your people. She smiled. Then they'll go out fighting. Can... You say the same, Overlord? She cut the feed. Behind her, the resistance forces were rallying. Across the planet, more Titan cores were waking. Underground cells were emerging from the shadows, armed and angry. Earth had become a wildfire, and Lena Voss, broken, bloodied, defiant, was its match. The stars burned overhead, cold, distant, and watching. High above Earth, the Dominion fleet coiled in desperation. Their command ship, Oblivion's Reign, floated like a dying god bleeding fuel and fear. Inside, High Overlord Verax paced before the central holomap, each flicker of light marking another fallen sector. Resistance has spread to 73% of Earth's surface. Titan-class mechs active in 12 zones. Morale incalculable. He slammed his clawed fist into the console. This world was supposed to kneel. A voice behind him whispered, "But she made it stand." Verax turned. The Ash Legion, his final monsters, stood ready in obsidian armor, weapons bristling with alien energy. Silent, perfect, unbeaten. "Deploy them all," Verax growled. "Burn what remains, level cities, silence her name." But it was already too late, because Earth had learned her name, Earth. Titan 12, North American front smoke curled from Titan 12's damaged torso. Inside, Lena Voss sat with one eye swollen, her body bruised, and her spirit defiant. Argus crackled in her ear. "Final wave incoming, 42 Ash Legion warforms descending. They will not stop." Lena stared at the sky through the cracked cockpit glass. She remembered her mother's voice, her father's final words before the invasion. The broken faces in the early camps, the resistance fighters who died so she could live long enough to stand here. She would not let them down. Not. Now, activate final protocol. Are you certain? Earth deserves the last word. Argus went silent for a moment, then said calmly, "Final protocol initiated. All Titan units globally will receive synchronization signal. Power transfer active. Warning, this will burn out the core, and you." Lena nodded. "Then let's make it loud." Across the world, buried Titans roared to life. In Africa, a mech forged from volcanic alloys rose from a mountainside. In Eastern Europe, a frost-covered colossus cracked the ice and stomped forward. In the drowned cities of Southeast Asia, sea-worn Titans emerged, reborn. They all turned skyward, waiting. Low orbit, Ash Legion drop. Pods the Ash Legion fell like meteors, dozens of them screaming through the atmosphere with trails of blue fire. Inside, each warform was silent, focused, unstoppable. Genetically designed for one purpose, obliteration. But as they broke through the clouds, something strange happened. Their HUDs lit with alerts. Warning, atmospheric pulse detected. Source, Earth core. Then the sky exploded. Lena had used the Titan Neuralink network to amplify a global EMP pulse, frying half the Ash Legion's systems before they even touched ground. Those that survived found themselves ambushed by awakened Titans, resistance squads, and coordinated assaults planned by Argus in microseconds. It wasn't a fight, it was an execution. Titan 12 versus Verax, with Earth's surface secured, there was one place left to strike: Oblivion's Reign. Argus initiated a long-range jump using all remaining power. Titan 12 soared into orbit, black smoke trailing its armor, Lena gritting her teeth against the G-forces. The Dominion fleet opened fire, plasma cannons, fusion mines, defense drones. Titan 12 punched through them all. It landed like thunder on Oblivion's Reign, caving in its hull and splitting decks wide. Lena climbed from the cockpit, armed with a rail blade and wearing scavenged Dominion armor. She stalked through fire and gravity rips until she reached the command core. Verax waited, larger than she imagined, stronger, smarter, ancient. "You could have been spared," he said, "ruled beside me. Rebuilt Earth in our image." Lena stepped forward, bloody and smiling. "We don't rebuild under chains." He struck. She dodged, slashed, ducked. The duel wasn't clean. It was savage. She fought like a wild creature, driven by fury, memory, and hope. Veyrax landed a crushing blow, but she rose again, bleeding, broken, and then she stabbed her blade straight through his throat. He collapsed. In silence, black blood hissing on steel. Epilogue. Earth, 1 year later. The Dominion was gone. Not just from Earth, but from half the outer colonies. Word of Veyrax's death spread like a virus. The Empire fractured. Uprisings ignited. Lena Voss stood atop a rebuilt tower in what had once been New York. Below her, families walked free under open skies. Titan 12 rested behind her, museum-bound, never to be used again. She wore no armor now, just a simple jacket with the Resistance crest stitched on the sleeve. Gerent approached. "The Council wants to name the new capital after you." Lena smiled faintly. "No, name it home. That's all we ever wanted." And as night fell, stars flickered above, but this time they watched in silence, because humanity had stood, and one girl had made the stars tremble.